Everybody. I'm going to let people trickle in and we'll get started in a few minutes. You'll see that there's a poll that's come out. If you would please let me know if you're a student or a parent and which grade, because then I can kind of address, the things that you specifically are going through at this point. So that would be great if you can just fill it out as you come in. So, very good. I am really looking forward to sharing this information with you today. And we're going to get started in not too long. This is a busy time. I know whether you're a junior, you have junior kids, or later in the earlier in the process. I know that this is a really busy time with AP tests and all sorts of final exams. But I'm glad that you're here and thinking about college planning. This is super important. So I'm going to get started. If you are thinking about college planning for your kids, you have come to the right place. Welcome. My name is Anjali Mazel. I am a former Princeton University interviewer, TED Talk speaker, and college admissions expert. I am also the very proud mom of a thriving 23-year-old, now in grad school. At Anja Education Consultants, we have helped hundreds of students get into their top perfect match schools, including Yale and Stanford, Johns Hopkins and Vanderbilt, and Swarthmore and UT Austin, to name a few. As a Princeton University interviewer, I learned what colleges are looking for in a student and how applicants can stand out from the crowd. And as a parent, I learned how incredibly complicated the college application process is these days and how much stress it can put on our relationship with our kids. The process today bears no resemblance whatsoever to the college application process that we had when we were applying as parents applying to college. There are multiple application formats, different policies for each college, and not to mention, of course, the competitiveness of the applicant pool for the top tier colleges. So through my journey as a parent, and this is the good news, through my journey as a parent and as a college counselor and former Princeton interviewer, I discovered solutions to this maze that the college application process has become, solutions that I'm going to share with you today. So, how are we going to look at acing college admissions and finding perfect match college lists and standard applications? Just to kind of give you an overview, in the middle of this incredibly competitive 2022 admissions year, which some of you might be aware of, for our students at Anja Education Consultants, which I founded, our 2022 results are $2 million in merit scholarships for students, and the average total scholarships per student for the students that I worked with this year, $182,000. So we'll be looking at how that happened and how we got there. So if you have questions about the application process, please put them in the Q&A with the grades your kids are in, because that'll help me as well. And don't forget to fill out the poll. We will have the poll going for another few minutes and then see the results. So what does my experience as a Princeton interviewer and parent mean for you exactly? So instead of going through this process completely stressed out, overwhelmed, confused, both parents and students can be in an amazing position in the fall of your student's senior year. Now, let's visualize what that could look like. It's October 15th of your teen senior year in high school. because they submitted their 10 to 15 high quality applications early, they have their first acceptances rolling in, and they have gotten the scholarship you were hoping for. So now you have the time, the funds, and the peace of mind to plan that winter break vacation that you've been fantasizing about. So you're thinking about mountain or beach, domestic or international. What in this scenario is your child thinking about? Well, instead of being close to burnout by having to juggle applications with schoolwork and extracurriculars and other responsibilities, instead of, dreading winter break because that's when they're going to have to cram all their applications and submit the subpar essays, your teen is now free to pursue the academic and extracurricular activities that mean the most to them. And also, first semester grades senior year are often looked at by admissions, so your kids will have the energy to perform well in school instead of getting exhausted trying to juggle applications at the same time. This scenario is really tip number one. It's about timing and working with an expert like me. You can end up finding the ideal personalized timeline for your student. So in some senses, earlier is better, not for all students, but for a large majority of them. So the tip one for outstanding applications, focus on when applications open. Generally, this is going to be in August, sometimes July, August, generally for most applications. And don't focus on when the applications close, which is generally in December or January. So focus your timeline that way and reverse engineer what the tasks need to be done and when, which I will show you later on in this webinar. The reason this is important, why is it important to submit applications earlier? Because of something called rolling admissions. Rolling admissions, whether the college admits it or not on their website, is more and more prevalent, especially as colleges are trying to fill their seats early to get an idea of what their class size is going to be. So what that means is they are allocating spots in their freshman class and scholarship funds on a first come, first served basis. So how do you get ready to submit standout applications in the right time, at the right time? So toward the end of the webinar, I'm going to share the blueprint I've developed over many years in this field. So that's the first tip, was that. And now I'm going to introduce you to the steps to take to submit those outstanding applications through 3 case studies with one tip for each case study. So let's start with Tony. He illustrates how to choose the perfect match majors. Now, before we do that, I just want to quickly check the poll and see what the results are. Okay, so I guess, so it's but pretty much evenly divided between parents and students, and most are in 11th grade, some in 10th, some in 9th, and some in 12th. Okay, very good. So the story of Tony, I was going to tell you, illustrates how to choose perfect match majors. He came in sophomore year to me and said, he had high grades, he had a high SAT score, and he said, well, I'm really good in math, so everybody tells me I'm supposed to be an engineer. And he looked really down when he said this. His heart was definitely not in it. Then when I dug a little deeper and we had some conversations, it turned out that he had an incredible talent in art. And so when I found that out, I matched him with a local art mentor He developed his work, and then I also proposed the Rhode Island School of Design for the summer so he could create a very compelling portfolio of work. At the end of this process, he came out of that summer program and said to me excitedly, I know what I want to do. I want to become an architect. And the reason that that's really was perfect for him is that architecture blended his talent in math and his talent in art. So he, as a result of the way that he presented his portfolio and the combination of, having a real sense of purpose in his major, the combination of that led him to get a huge scholarship from Tulane, $100,000. And in the end, he turned it down and chose his first choice school, which was Rice. So how did he do that? And how can you do that? How can you have your kids do that? Align with that perfect match major and career. So the way that I worked with him, and this is tip number 2, is asking different questions from your child, or if you're the student, asking yourself different questions. Instead of asking, what do you want to be when you grow up? Ask, what lights you up? What lights you up, and what problems in the world that you notice in your community, local community, or a little bit further out, wider, how would you like to be able to use the things you love, your talents, to be able to address some of these problems? So in this conversation, in this way, you can help them find the sweet spot between passion and aptitude, or what they're good at and what they love. And the choice of extracurriculars and summer programs is crucial. So for the 11th graders that are here, it's very true. How you use this summer is going to be very important. If you've already made a decision, that's fine. But going forward, it's, if you can be sure that it really aligns with your sense of what you are most interested in. Now, for the 10th graders and the 9th graders, you have some time to explore. And so what you do with the summers is one of the most valuable investments that you can make. So by making, in Tony's case, by making the right choices for extracurricular activities and summer plans, Tony found out what he wanted to major in. And then after that, we could find his perfect match colleges to apply to based on the major and his profile, admission trends data, his preferences, and all of that put together. So the benefit here is by getting that guidance early, like I was able to give him in the career and major planning, it saved not only him, it saved him time in college of looking around and trying to figure it out, which ultimately saved the family money. And it also maximized his scholarships, $100,000 scholarship from Tulane, and it maximized his chance of admission. Rice has an incredibly low admission rate. It's one of the most competitive colleges in the country. It helped him. So the choice, again, of extracurriculars and summer programs, very, very important. And this is one of the places where expert guidance can really make all the difference. Okay, so what about another student that I worked with, Ellen? So Ellen's experience is about telling a compelling story. Ellen is now a business major at Emory University, and she turned down 12 scholarships up to $100,000. Now, she was very different from Tony. She came to see me. She had a low B average from a competitive high school, and she struggled with anxiety. So the college planning process needed to empower her rather than burden or stress her. How were we going to do that? Well, we focused on her story and what mattered the most to her and telling that story. So the story really was about how academically she was able to improve her GPA over the 3 years, because she ended her junior year with a high B average. So it was that improvement through hard work and taking initiatives like getting mentoring from teachers, extra mentoring outside of school, certain things she did. And then also she took very challenging classes. The second part of her story was extracurricular. She had a managerial position on her yearbook in high school, which she combined with an internship at a startup, which I helped her find, at a startup incubator. And she was able to illustrate her leadership abilities, her teamwork abilities, as well as the initiative of getting an internship in business while still in high school. So I helped her weave her talents and experience together, helped her choose programs, both extracurricular and for the summer, and helped her gain clarity about what she wanted in her future career. She decided she wanted to become a socially responsible entrepreneur, and at the same time, while she got this clarity, her anxiety about the future was diminished. So it yielded those 12 scholarship offers up to $100,000 and the admission to her top choice school, which was Emory. So tip number 3 is the key is to see your child's 3-year journey as a story. How do their academic interests and extracurriculars fit together? How can all the threads be combined to reveal who they are? So first, I recommend an interest and strengths assessment, which I give students, which shows that sweet spot between aptitude and passion. And then start to brainstorm about that story that ties in with the authentic self. Authentic self is not a buzzword. It is extremely important for us to be aligned with that, not only to enhance admission and scholarship results, but also for well-being. So the benefit here, again, optimized admission results, financial savings through maximizing scholarships, and of course, the peace of mind of having more clarity. So at this point, Sydney, our great moderator, I would like you to paste the link into the chat because I am offering a way I can work with you one-on-one, I can work with your kids to get the results that they are looking for in terms of optimal admissions, optimal scholarships. So I am also offering a discount. So if you sign up, you'll get a strategy session with me to go over the possibilities, the different ways that I can work with you, the different packages. And if you choose a package, you'll get a discount. So, and by the way, if students sign up, please be sure both parents are there. If parents sign up, it would be great for you and your spouse to be there so we can streamline. Okay, so next I want to talk to you about Maria. So before we do that, I just needed to wrap that up about Ellen. So next I wanted to talk to you about Maria and her daughter Grace, who worked with me last year, and Grace was awarded $80,000 to her first choice school, Cal Arts, and she was awarded $199,000 from her second choice school, Columbia College Chicago. Now, they were able to do that not only because of the portfolio I helped her submit, not only because of the essays we worked on, not only because of the strategic choice of major that aligned with her talents, but also because of the SAT and ACT strategy, which I am going to discuss after we hear their story from directly from them.
Hi everyone, I'm Grace Sorensen and I'm a long-term client of Miss Anjali. We began working my freshman year. Right away she got to know my family, my passions, and what I saw myself doing beyond just the years of college.
I have to agree. I'm Maria and I'm Grace's mom. And I would have to say the best thing about Anjali and working with her is that she's super organized. She uses a lot of technological tools that keep us organized with calendars and scheduling. What I loved is that she made Grace responsible for all of it. So selfishly, I didn't have to do all of that. And I actually love that she made her become very independent and very responsible for her learning and for her goals and reaching them. We love her dearly, and
Absolutely.
we are very grateful for her because she goes far beyond just academic learning and growth.
And I'm so proud to say and so thankful to be able to say that in these 4 years, thanks to her help with my applications, I was able to get a $20,000 scholarship to my top pick school, which is California Institute of the Arts, also known as CalArts. So thank you, Miss Anjali, for everything that you've done for me. We love you so much, and we can't wait to see what other lives you get to change. Thank you.
So when Grace, by the way, was talking about $20,000, that's $20,000 a year. So it was an $80,000 scholarship, just to clarify, right? The other thing that she mentioned, apart from the testing that we're going to talk about in a minute, was, that Maria talked about, was her mother, was that it is so, sometimes it is so difficult to help our teens as parents gain the independence that we know they're going to need in order to succeed. I remember my son's junior year of high school. I thought, oh my gosh, he is so far from being able to organize himself and stay on task. Very brilliant student, but just needed that growth period. And so by working with students, I'm really here to empower them to take ownership of this process, to get excited about their future. So it's win-win on a lot of levels. Now, what about the testing? So we hear a lot about test optional. You may already have heard a lot. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I just want to clarify two things. First of all, there are many colleges that were test optional before COVID, which means that they know how to assess students. Those traditionally test optional colleges, places like Smith, like NYU, that has been test flexible for a long time, they know how to assess students without the standardized tests. University of California, like UC Berkeley, UCLA, have become test blind. That means that even if you send the test in, they won't even look at it anymore. So colleges are understanding. This is a very hot topic among colleges, the value of this. Now, I believe that these tests, the ACT and the SAT, which, by the way, you don't have to submit both. One is perfectly fine. And that they are not aptitude tests. They are not measuring ability, or they are not even measuring your how likely you are to succeed in college. What they are measuring is how much test prep you've done. And so in this landscape where test optional means, if you're at the 50th percentile, at the top of the 50th percentile of previous year's admitted students for the colleges you're applying to, then definitely submit the scores. If you're at the bottom of that 50th percentile, it really may not be to your advantage to submit the scores, and that's test optional. But where it gets complicated is some colleges super score, some colleges only want the highest sitting, some colleges want all of the tests. So to sort through that, it requires an overview and a strategy that is very personalized to each student and to each college. While we are in this landscape, the test prep is important. So, my recommendation is take it twice. If you have to take it 3 times, that's fine. But really, what you want to do is be sure that not too much emphasis is being placed on these tests, because merit scholarships are not always linked. I've had many students who've applied test optional. For example, Grace. She applied test optional. She didn't send her scores in, but she turned down a $200,000 scholarship. She got $80,000 to her top choice school. So it's something to know and to think about. There are exceptions, right? So what I'm saying is, you've got to be very strategic. This is also, we're working with somebody who is an expert, who has the experience to help you make that choice and that strategy that's really personal to you and to the schools you're applying to. So now we've covered that, and what I want to talk to you next about is track record. Now, you might be wondering how all these pieces fit together and when your child should be doing what to ace the college admissions process and submit really standout applications. So, as I was saying, over the years I've developed a proven blueprint of what to do and when, which I'm going to share with you. And after the blueprint, I will be sharing some final tips and tricks, so please stick around till the end of the webinar. And please, I would ask you to put into the chat, to put the link, Sydney, so that you can have the opportunity of a strategy session to explore working together. If you're thinking about college planning, strategy is going to be extremely important given the complexity. So at this point, I just want to share with you, before I share the blueprint, I want to be clear on this track record so you can understand the return on investment when you're working with me. So since 2014, 100% of our students have obtained merit scholarships ranging from $12,000 to $276,000. And this year, in 2022, the results for our students has been, for this application cycle, $2 million in merit scholarships, an average total scholarships per student of $182,000. So you can see in this situation that our fees are paid for many times over. The return on investment, even just from the scholarship point of view, is high. So what I want to share next is the blueprint. And now that I've shared the track record, where you see how my fees are covered many, many times over, this explanation of my services is also the blueprint. So it's both a description of how I help students and a blueprint that can be applied by students who feel that they can work independently, who are very motivated, who are extremely disciplined. It is rare, it is possible, but at least you know what needs to be included in the application. So I have two different approaches. One is comprehensive, which is 10 colleges and no test prep, but it has all these different features, and I will tell you about them in a minute. So from everything from the cutting edge strengths and interests assessment that I mentioned when we were talking about how to find that ideal major and how to find the career and how to align the extracurriculars with that major and career. So I give that, and I go into great depth to analyze the results. And then beyond the basics, we go into transcripts and seeing if there are any weaknesses to be shored up. This is for 11th and 12th grades combined, by the way. We're looking at all extracurriculars. We're looking at helping create an excellent resume, preparing for all the interviews, basically every single aspect of the college application process that can be optimized, because there are so many moving parts that optimizing each one is key to finding that success. So each one of these things, I also help decide between the SAT, ACT. We work on all the essays. I have a absolutely fantastic writing coach team, and then a review of the application by a former top-tier admissions officer. So you are getting it absolutely directly. Apart from my experience as a Princeton interviewer, you're getting a top-tier admission officer, former top-tier admission officer reading. And you know, I take you all the way through 12th grade. So basically all the way up until you enroll, if there are any scholarship negotiations, wait lists, etc., etc. And all of that put together for both 11th and 12th grades combined is $12,997, but I'm offering a $500 discount if you sign up for the free strategy session one-on-one. So Sydney, if you could put that link back in the chat, please. And please feel free to sign up if you're interested in looking at which package or how I might be able to help. If you're a student, please be sure to bring your parents. If you're a parent, if possible, sign up with your spouse so that I can save you time and not have that second conversation. And the final cost then, with a $500 discount, is $12,497. So remember the return on investment. We are, this is an investment you make, but my average scholarship since 2014 per student has been $80,000, and all of them have received scholarships ranging from $12,000 to $276,000 in 2022, $2 million worth of scholarships with an average per student total scholarship amount of $180,000. So the return on investment is very, very clear. So that this is for 10 colleges and no test prep. Now, if you also want the test prep, 18 hours of SAT or ACT test prep, I have a premium package, and it includes everything we just saw, plus those 18 hours and 5 additional applications. So 15 colleges in total. And that cost is $17,247, which already includes a $500 discount. But in addition, if you sign up for the free strategy session, you get an additional $500 discount, which means that you're saving $1,000. And the final cost is $16,747. Now, if you have younger students in middle school or 9th grade, 10th grade, then I do have various ways of working with those students. Talent Development Foundations package, which helps to assess and advise on both the academic path and the extracurricular choices to really align with those interests and possible eventual college major. And that is $1,997 with a $500 discount. Then it's $1,497, and that's for four meetings. And then if you want a fuller package for the younger students, then I have the Talent Development Package 3D, which again is initial interview, interest strengths assessment, and I help students discover, develop, and demonstrate their talents through mentor pairing, summer, extracurricular, and internship planning. These are the kinds of things that in the end make for outstanding college applications, but also help students gain that clarity about what they want, what really matters to them, and ultimately it reduces stress when they have that clarity. So I help students build portfolios, have personal websites, every single possible aspect of the college planning process is part of this, including a diagnostic test and testing plan for the SAT versus ACT. And then that one is $3,597, but with a $500 discount, the final cost is $3,097. So again, I hope to see you at one of the free strategy sessions. And I really look forward to hearing your questions and your particular situation, what it is that you're considering, and what you are challenged by. So feel free to put questions in the Q&A and also to sign up for these this free strategy session. So basically, what are we looking for? As counselors, as parents, we of course need those scholarships. Of course we want to maximize that because we want to have that money left over for college. We want to be able to pay for college and to focus on the admission results rather than having to worry about those merit scholarships. And the final tips, yes, so I promised that I was going to give you some final tips. So there's one thing I ask you not to do. Students, you probably don't know who this is. Parents, I think you will know who this is. Scarlett O'Hara, Gone with the Wind. I'll think about that tomorrow. Don't do it. Start planning. You don't have to get stressed out about it, but plan. Plan early. This will help you at the end to have the results that you're looking for. And don't buy into the myths. So check these 3 myths out, okay? Children need to get into top 10 to 100 ranked school to be successful. If they don't get into X school, the dream school, their lives will be ruined. If they don't become a doctor, lawyer, engineer, they will be poor. So they're all false, and the reason is, it's not my opinion, it's according to research that's been done, that the best predictors of success after college are not the rank of the school, but being closely mentored by professors, engaging with the college community in an active way, and choosing work that's in line with 21st century job skills that are not replaceable by AI. So these are the important things. The rank of the school comes way behind in this research. And so what you also can do is focus on fit, right? We need to redefine success in the college admissions process and focus on best fit lists, best fit major, best fit career. That's what leads to not only those high scholarships and admission results, but also that sense of well-being. And then we want to make sure our kids understand that college is one step in designing a life of purpose. It's not a destination. So the more, yes, we try to do everything to maximize those chances, but we have to see the bigger picture. Timeline, we talked about timeline at the beginning, and it's important to support kids in being okay with not knowing what they want. Some kids are Renaissance kids. These are kids who have multiple interests. You can celebrate that, and there are now more and more multidisciplinary majors. There are majors and minors. There are even design your own major. There are a lot of options out there. So the important thing is to align those choices for college with who your kids really are. And that also goes for the narrative, the college essays. They have to reveal who those kids really, really are. So help them by focusing on self-reflection. Now, another couple of things, demonstrated interest. So colleges are tracking students. Be sure they're clicking on the emails of the colleges they want to be accepted by. This is going to make a big difference. I have a whole section in my packages on demonstrated interest and how to leverage the enrollment management tracking software of colleges to enhance admission results. This is a real thing. Helping students clean up their digital footprint, learning how to engage with college professors in those colleges they're interested in a thoughtful way. All of this, again, part of my package. And then you want to keep track of those accomplishments. Anything that's that's like a personal website or videos can be very, very helpful. Not necessary in all cases, but can be very helpful. Help the students focus on going deeper, not wider. When we were applying to college, it was the well-rounded student. That's not the case anymore. So we want them to help them strive for mastery of skills, but not at the detriment of the joy in the process. The joy in the process is paramount. And then finally, rely on expert guidance as early as possible, because ultimately we want to maximize those scholarships. We want to optimize those applications so that every single moving part is addressed, and that ends up with the scholarships, ends up saving families a tremendous amount, not only of time, but also reduces the stress in this process. So finally, what I want to ask of all of us is to really strive together to help our students, whether we're counselors or parents or you students also, is to focus on college as one step in building a joyful, successful life of purpose. Because what we want is we want our kids to thrive. That's, I know from talking to parents, me as a parent, and of course, you as students. So very good. Well, I am going to look forward now to your questions. So I have a question about medical school or law school prep and applications. So I assume you're asking whether I help with those. I help with the BSMDs, the ones that are applying to both college and medical school. I don't help just college students who are applying to medical school, but I do help high school students who want to get a BSMD. And then law school, yes, and of course the applications for those as well. And Sydney was wondering about going back, so I don't know what that's all about. You can also just update that question. Okay, so let's see. Very good. Well, if you have other questions, if you'd like to explore how to save the maximum amount of funds to increase your scholarship, to maximize those options, to personalize this process, please join me in the free strategy session to explore how I might be able to help. Now, I have a question here of when juniors should apply to universities. So I would focus on closer to when applications open. They open generally in August. So when I work with students, most of my students complete the vast majority of the process by the end of August. You're not going to necessarily submit everything by the end of August because there's some steps that need to be done with a high school counselor when you get back in the fall. But and there's some cases when earlier is not better. So I don't want to make this a blanket statement. I like the idea of juniors balancing their having a good balance between their schoolwork and their extracurriculars, and not having the additional burden of the college applications, which is very time consuming. Because if you think for top tier schools, and we're not just talking the top 10 on U.S. News and World Report, we're talking about the top tier, maybe your top 50 schools, you're going to have the main college essay, but then you're going to have between 1 and 3 or sometimes 5 or 6 extra writing supplement essays. So if you multiply that by the 8 or 10, by the way, the college list, I recommend 8 to 10 schools, and it has to be a balanced list. So that can end up being hundreds of essays. So I just, that's why I like to get students started a bit earlier when possible. And then where can we find you? Yes, so NSHSS, Sydney is the moderator, is actually typing an answer here. I mean, you're really welcome to also email me. My email, I will put that in the chat, info@anjadu.com. So I'm going to put that for everyone. That's my email. So feel free to email me here. I'm also going to post that over here in the slides. So why earlier is not better? I think you might mean why earlier. Well, sometimes for example, if a student is involved in a very intensive project in the summer, they may want to write about that project, and they may not be able to write about it until early fall. So that would be a case where earlier is not better. Also, there are going to be some schools like University of California system where the application doesn't even open until October. So, there are situations where either it's not possible or it's not optimal to apply super early. So now I see a question about tips for writing the essays. What should a student look for to include that sets them apart and catches the attention of admissions personnel? So, the essays, as I was saying with the case of Ellen, in my case studies, the essays really need to align with what really matters to you as a student, and how are you going to convey your sweet spot that we were talking about between passion and talent, your accomplishments, but without, in a way that's going to be both interesting to read, personal, and that is, an exercise that you actually feel really conveys who you are. So detail is super important. You want to give a lot of examples, avoid generalizations. Two main tips for writing a successful essay: lots of detailed examples, and avoid generalizations. That's one point. And then the other is watch for repetitions. It's 650 words is the length of the personal statement. Every single sentence needs to add something new. I hope that that's been helpful. To set the student apart, again, it's about you, your story, because you're a unique individual. How are you going to express that? What are examples of that, of how you have made an impact on the community or created something that is different? There are many different prompts for the personal statement. And then the question about why are supplemental essays needed? Well, supplemental essays, a couple of reasons they're out there. One of them is to dissuade students who just are clicking on Schools on the Common app. That's one reason why colleges put extra essays in there. But that's the most superficial reason. The other reasons are to give colleges as much insight into the different facets. So sometimes a writing supplement will be, why do you want to apply to this school? Another time it'll be, why do you want to major in what you're majoring in? Some colleges have a variety of different supplements, including creative supplements. One college recently had a writing supplement prompt that was, what is your favorite word and why? Okay, so they're trying to see if you can think outside the box. But I recommend that you don't try to second guess them, and don't try to, check off a list of things. It's really writing from the heart, but writing with detail, and being sure that the composite of all of those essays really conveys who you are in the most complete way possible when you put all of the writing supplements and the personal statement together. Okay, other question. If I lack competition experience, despite having great scores, any tips for me if I want to engage more with competitions but find available time limited? Right. I'm in 11th grade. Well, your question is a typical question from a busy 11th grader who, you guys have a lot going on. I know that. The thing I would say is it's important to personalize this process. I can't give you a generic answer. Sometimes a personal project will be the right solution, but sometimes if you're saying that your time is limited, your time available is limited, if you have a lot of family responsibilities, that can make for a great essay, and then you don't have to worry so much about competitions. I had a student this year who was admitted with a high scholarship to New York University, and his personal statement was about his family responsibilities. He lives with his mom, who's a single mom, and he is in charge of taking care of his sibling and of cooking and cleaning the house. I mean, it's a lot of hours. We added up all the hours, and it was a lot of hours. So, there are many reasons why you have limited time. I can't give you a personalized answer unless I actually talk to you. So that's part of why working with me is beneficial, because then I can really get to know you, can really get to know the students and see exactly what is missing and what is needed to take your profile to the next level. So I think that for the moment we don't have any more questions, so I'm going to wrap up and just say thank you so much. Thank you for attending. Thank you, Sydney, for moderating. And most of all, whether you end up working with me or not, I really wish you a inspiring road ahead where you as students understand more about yourself and see that if you can see beyond the peer pressure and beyond the media messages about it has to be this school, that school, or you have to be able to figure it all out. If you're still undecided about your major, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. There's even a check mark on most of the college applications that says if you're undecided, then you just talk about your interests. So that's that. And then for parents, to really help students reframe the college application process as one step in designing a life of purpose. College is not a destination. That destination admissions game is lose-lose. If you want win-win, then help give your students that opportunity to understand a little bit more about who they are and be okay with where they are right now. So I will hopefully see you all soon or another time. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone.